Hello teacher, welcome to my presentation in Botis app. Okay, let me explain you what is going to be my presentation about. Okay, first one, we are going to have the definition and the short explanation about what is simultaneous and consecutive interpretation. Then I'm going to move and I'm going to explain to you the steps for simultaneous and consecutive interpretation. I have to say that these are likely, but they aren't the same. They have similarities, but they aren't the same. And by last, I'm going to be explaining to you or giving you some tips for both of them to you to have a better use of them. So I hope you enjoy my presentation and let's start. Simultaneous interpretation is known as the act of interpreting something in a simultaneous way while a speaker is making a speech. The interpreter reformulates the speech into a language for the audience so they can understand at the same time that the speaker is giving the speech. Simultaneous interpreters works in an interpreting way in which you cannot use a book or that someone whispers some words that you don't know. It has to be so natural with fluency. What makes simultaneous different from consecutive interpreting is that this has to be at the moment. You need to anticipate what the speaker should say. You need to have a good memory to keep the sentence in mind because sometimes sentences get large. Also, you have to be paying close attention to what consecutive interpretation is the act of interpreting something in a way that the speaker makes a speech or he just says some sentences. Meanwhile, the interpreter is just taking notes. After that, the interpreter shares what the speaker has said for the audience. Usually, the interpreter is close to the speaker, and he uses a pad with a pen to take as many notes as possible. When speaker ends with the presentation, interpreter takes the microphone and he starts to speak. You need to be good with the pen to be a good interpreter because you have to take notes so fast. Keep key words or phrases because then those will help you to present the message that the speaker. Steps for the simultaneous interpretations are three. First, we have listening carefully. This is going to help us to understand the message that the speaker is trying to transmit for the audience. So, for that reason, you need to be using your listening skills. The second one is analyze. This step is used for get the structure for the message. In here, you are going to see how you have to transmit the message, with which feeling you have to do it to arrive to that persuasive feeling. And number three, reproduce the message. The last step is sharing the message with the audience, as long as you have done with the other step, decodificating the original message from the speaker. In consecutive interpretation, we have three steps too. These are likely from the simultaneous, but they are not the same. First, we have listen actively. This is when you are listening the original message and taking all in mind to understand the message. As long as you have understood the message, you can move to the other step, that is, analyze. This step is basically when you decide how to create your message. As you are not doing the interpretation simultaneous, you can have a little bit of more time to arrange the structure of the message that the speaker wants to transmit. And then the last one is reproduce. This step is based on how you share the word message. to the audience, giving them some keywords as you were keeping some of them and making the whole speech more clear for them. Tips for the simultaneous interpretations could be: do not feel nervous. If you feel nervous, perhaps you will commit mistakes and you will be afraid of that. Be a good listener. If you are a good listener, you are going to be able to understand the message as the speaker is speaking. At the same time, practice your vocabulary. This is going to help you at the time of being experiencing yourself because, as you know, if you have a long vocabulary, you can have a better expression of the ideas. Talk with the speaker before the presentation. This is a good idea because if you do this, you are going to have an idea about what the speech is going to be about. And the last one, practice your pronunciation in the language you deal with. This is going to help you at the time to be expressing yourself in that language. Some tips for the consecutive interpretations can be: try to analyze everything into a deep level. If you do this, you are going to get the specific message that the speaker wants to transmit. Use an outlining. This is going to help you to have a very organized presentation because, as you know, an outlining is going to help you a lot. Take short notes. These help you to have just the keywords or the key phrases because if you write too much at the time of being expressing yourself, you are going to do not know what you have to say. Practice your vocabulary and use quotes. If you practice your vocabulary at the time to speak, you are going to have more fluence. And with quotes, it's going to be persuasive for the people. And the last one, do not change the message. This is the most important part. Do not change it